Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you guys doing? Everyone's been very active, very passionate, and very enthused about doing good work for Palestine, taking the pro-Palestine position, going online, doing the charity work now, which has been made available to us, etc. But there's another country in which you'll find atrocities being committed, and that is Sudan, a big Muslim country, both geographically and by population, in Africa. And this really is something which has been underreported. I think we haven't spoken about this enough, guys. I mean, to be honest with you, what's happened, if we know the history of this country and what's happened, especially with the RSF forces, recently, the rapes that have been committed, or the sexual assaults en masse that have been committed, the major displacements happening by the RSF and these other groups, mercenaries coming from outside of the country. Many of the things that we're seeing, in fact, Al Jazeera has videos of this group, the RSF, in Sudan, killing civilians. You can actually watch those videos in Al Jazeera Arabic. I mean, so this is something which requires, we need to be aware of what's going on in Sudan, because it's absolutely disgusting, and we can apply pressure just as much in the same way as we're doing with Palestine on what's happening in Sudan. So
This is actually, it's very disappointing, because I haven't come across anything about this, even scrolling and stuff like that. And this I think will be very important for us to know, because you described this as potentially another genocide going on, and for us not to know about this is,
so what it is let's break this down. Sudan is a country which has been independent since 1956, okay? And ever since that time has had as much of Africa, much of the Middle East, and much of the world, in fact, what you refer to as authoritarian rule, okay? So you have a strong dictatorial type president or prime minister that's in charge of the country, dictator, let's just call him for the sake of argument. And recently, the most notable thing that's happened is you had this guy called al-Bashir. Okay, now he was in charge of the country until fairly recently, and one of the main things that has happened is in the year 2000, where probably the most numbers of civilians had been killed through a military coup. So this other group which came out, which we'll talk about in a second, but they came out and they tried to resist against Omar Bashir. They came out. This led to the killing of, some say, and by the way, hundreds of thousands of people, not even tens of thousands, honestly, but not in a short space of time. So with the Palestine issue, like, as you guys know, like it's only been 3 months and we've got 30,000 people. So these, like The Guardian, for example, you take these figures with a pinch of salt. Having said that, the official numbers of the government is much less. They say only 10,000 people were killed, which is nonsense. It's impossible. Is that with over a 5-year period, within a 5-year period, from the year 2000 onwards, that about 300,000 people died. Now, that might be skewed numbers or whatever it may be, but that's still in that much time, 5 years, 300,000 people. If it's even close to being true, let's say 100,000 people, that's still a massacre at a high level. And we've got the killing of the people, civilians. We have the displacement of the people, and then we have especially this tactic, which is particularly pernicious, which seems to be ongoing, and it seems to be one of the things they do. En masse, they sexually assault women in all kinds of different ways. We're talking about the RSF here. And this is a kind of like in the beginning. So what happened with the RSF is, who are the RSF? You had this guy called Hameti, okay, and this individual, he was kind of like the leader of this group. He was part of this splinter group, who was a paramilitary group or militia group, or you can call it what you want to call it. In the last couple of years, maybe 2021 onwards, 2020, they were offered a power sharing agreement. So they were offered to be subsumed within the Sudanese armed forces. So in other words, because of the coups that happened in the past, a way to resolve this issue was to bring this particular group within the framework of the government. And so what happened recently, so why is this happening again now? So we've spoken about from 1956 all the way to 2000, and from 2000 all the way to 2021. What's happening recently is that in 2021, 2022, that they violated the peace sharing, the power sharing agreement, and they went back into a state of war. So effectively what you have now in Sudan is you effectively have another civil war. You have another civil war. You've got Hameti on the one hand, or the RSF, and you have the Sudanese army, and these guys are, the RSF are committing the most atrocities. They are committing the most atrocities. They're getting people from outside. We can see these atrocities, and they are narrated en masse, mass transmitted by people all over. And we have videos, like in Al Jazeera, as I mentioned. Al Jazeera Arabic is probably the best source to see people being killed, and women testimonying, doing testimonials on how they've been sexually assaulted, etc. Recently, even more recently, so you've had, as we've mentioned, we talked about from 1956 all the way to 2000, all the way to 2020, 2021, and now we're in 2023. So the last bout of issues has been in August 2023, where the tensions have risen again, and we're talking about, when we talk about displacement here, we're talking about displacement of millions of people. We're not talking about displacements of tens of thousands or hundreds. We're talking about displacements. Some say 3, some say 5 million. There's all kinds of estimates, but people have to leave the main areas. So we're talking about Khartoum, for example, the capital of Sudan, and other areas. They have to leave those areas. They're displaced. It's actually an atrocity. And it's only fair that this needs to be covered. People need to be, first of all, with this issue, number one, informed of what's happening. And the same basic strategy that we are applying with Palestine, we need to apply with Sudan, in as much the same way we have concern with the Palestinian people, we have to be concerned with the Sudanese people. And this was the first of many videos. Obviously with Critical Content News, Musa has done a range of videos on this. We have a range of articles being written on the website as well, for people who want to see and have more information on that. Maybe I'll put them in the description box in the comment section. Tariq Kurd has, Tariq, he's a fantastic job writing down some really brilliant articles on this as well. I think are there
any donation links that people can?
We need to look at. We're still in the process of looking at what are the best charities. But at this point in time, I think the first step is to know what's going on, and to get people both intellectually and emotionally invested with this issue, because we can't, have a skewed relationship with the Ummah. The Ummah is the Ummah. So one Sudanese person dying is the same as one Palestinian person dying. 100%. There's absolutely no difference whatsoever. And I hope everyone here has taken heed of this video and understands now what's happening in Sudan.
Yeah, no, just I don't know. To me personally, I have no. It was news to me when you came and told me. I know something was happening in Ethiopia. I was thinking then Sudan. I had no idea. So to me, it just shows like I haven't heard of it anywhere. I'm not on Twitter, not on Instagram. I haven't heard of it anywhere. I don't know why not. Which again, brothers and sisters, we shouldn't treat the issue of Gaza becomes a fashion sometimes. Yes, there are people who genuinely care, but it becomes something like kind of a fashion thing. It's really important for us to check our intentions, because if you don't feel the same way about the plight of the brothers and sisters in Sudan or wherever for that matter, we really need to question our heart. To me, like I said, I had no idea. I'm going to try my best to look into it even more and try to raise awareness to it. And like I said, if you brothers can inform me if there's a charity that we can raise towards that's on the ground, whatever for that matter. But from this moment onwards going forward, it's important for us to do our research and put as much effort as we can, as much as we are with the Gaza situation, to see what's going on. Because over there, you're talking 4 or 5 million people displaced, thousands of people being killed. So yes, I think we should put the same thing. And also STUJ News, inshallah, I'm sure Zishan's going to look into it as well. So yeah, definitely we should renew our intentions and make sure that we are morally consistent. Whoever it has been done, doesn't matter the color for that matter.
Jazakumullah khairan wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.